1,
2, 3, 4,
7,
9,
8,
10,
9, 10, 11, 12.
12.
Two.
All right. Again, we seem to have a lock on getting us together and set up. Headphones are charged today. Let's get going.
Winning.
Right. Hello, and welcome to the Mental Funny Bone, Becoming the Gaster Girls. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sarah. A big part of this podcast will be discussing mental health, but please know that we are by no means mental health professionals. We're simply going to be talking about our experiences. So if you need help with your mental health, we suggest that you go to one of the links that we provide in our notes. I'm just going to read it. One day.
What?
One day I'm just going to fucking read it.
It's right there. It's right in
I
front of
know,
you.
but I'm trying not to look at it because it's up here and I'm trying to look in the camera thing.
No one cares where you're looking because they're just listening.
Right. That's right. I know.
I don't know. I feel sad for people that aren't watching the video because there is a cat perched directly behind my head on the back of my office chair.
It's perfect.
She's perched back there, but refusing to look at the camera. Oh, there she is. Say hi, Rose.
Nope.
I should not have had a pop right before we started recording.
Pop sounds good. I'm drinking a Kirkland brand sport drink.
Oh, nice.
I had to buy it from the Boosters concession because I have that stuff in the house, and that cannot happen because then I end up having to buy things from it.
Do you remember when we were younger, like little?
Yeah.
And I played baseball, so I had to be like in 5th grade, maybe.
I don't ever remember you playing baseball, but I remember concession stand shit being at our house. But go ahead.
I played baseball. Me and Heather Swanick we were girls on the baseball team. And I can't remember why we wanted to do this. I can't remember having a burning desire to blaze a trail on a sport I was really no good at. This is also where we figured out I needed glasses because I couldn't catch the ball or see the ball. But we had that concession stand stuff in our house. And there was one particular kind of grapefruit soda that I can't remember the name of right now. Yeah. Like it was at 50-50 or something. Hold on.
I think it was called Asshole.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Shank related at all.
Shank soda. Thank you. Google. I bet Google knows.
I'm already looking. Grapefruit
Ask
soda.
that bitch.
I'm going to have to be more specific.
Squirt. Which makes me want to
That's just funny. Grapefruit soda, 1980s. Come on, Google. 1980s grapefruit soda.
I vaguely remember. I can see it.
Squirt. It was, there it is, 50-50.
Was it? What was it?
It was 50-50. That's what it was called.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Can you bring up a picture of this? 50-50 soda.
Yes, I can do that.
What was the other 50? Oh, lime. It's grapefruit and lime because this sounds delicious in a fucking can.
Yeah, here it is. Here's what it looked like. I'm going to do a screen for you guys that can't see. It's the can I remember. But anyway, I don't know why anyone would have that at a concession stand because it seems like a pretty niche soda, but I loved it.
Anywhere.
I loved it. I thought it was the best tasting thing. As I'm reading The Hobbit, I'm definitely wanting to drink some 50-50 soda.
You're so fucking weird.
I don't know why I didn't have many friends growing up. Very strange.
Take The Hobbit and go in my room, and I'm going to get this grapefruit soda because it tastes so good.
But Nani wouldn't let you.
How old are you? Who the fuck? What kind of kid is wanting anything grapefruit?
I didn't know it was grapefruit. I was like, this is delicious. Whatever flavor this is. No, I understand. It's warranted. But your mom wouldn't let us just take the stuff from the concessions. We had to give her our spare change. Yeah. And I had, the piggy banks with the little thing at the bottom. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to take all the money out, so I tried to stick my little hand into the butthole of the...
Sometimes I bet it wasn't the butthole. It was probably the vagina.
Whatever. You're looking like a little mini Dr. Pole with a giant sleeve glove on there trying to get a quarter. All I need is a dime.
I just want a grapefruit pop. I just want a grapefruit pop.
I've changed in and out of my bathing suit 19 times already.
Open up, big boy. I'm looking for a quarter.
Right. Oh, God. Oh, things I'm going to be able to cut out later.
Oh,
yes,
I don't think
but
you should cut any of that out. I'm sure that's what that's reminding me
of.
To cut out.
grapefruit soda that I had to collect 25 cents for. And I'm pretty sure that you were at an age where you had a piggy bank and we made you put money in it, but you didn't really know what was going on. So it's
You probably
80%
took it from
likely I
mine.
stole money from you for these grapefruit sodas I loved so much.
That's fine. Owen has to hide his money. Like he found out early in life that he can't put things in a piggy bank because I know how to open it and get them out. I used to steal money. Here's best mom moment ever. I used to steal money out of his piggy bank to go buy cigarettes. Yes.
Like
Yes.
you're such an 80s mom. The
Thanks, mom.
only thing that would make you more of an 80s mom is if you put the money in an envelope with a note on the front of it that says, please sell Owen Marble Lights.
Cigarettes. Yeah.
But she would have to
Please
put the
sell
name of it on
Sarah.
there.
Yeah, please sell Sarah 2 packs of Capri 150,000s. And then, and mommy has really nice handwriting. And then my chicken scratch underneath it says, plus 1 pack of Marlboro Lights. Because that made sense.
And no one questioned. They were like,
Oh,
whatever
no,
happens in your
that
family,
I didn't even need a note.
fine.
I could have just went in and been like, listen, I need a carton of Marlboro Lights for myself. I am currently 14 years old. Thank you. And throw in a pack of those Capri real long ones for my mom. Yeah, it
And
was
I
that simple.
think if memory serves, which sometimes it doesn't, I think we've covered that.
Ooh, covered that.
There were two candy stores over in Blaine Hill, right?
I just remember one. But then
I
again,
think they
I
were
was pretty young still when we were gallivanting around there.
baby days for you. But your mom and I had walked over there together a couple times, pushing you in one of those little umbrella strollers. And
Probably killed several little kids at some point.
oh, I'm sure we just folded you
So
up in it
just
about
fold
four
it in.
times. You're fine. You're fine. But
I
I
can
think
see you
we
guys
went,
going into the candy store and leaving me tied up to the bike rack.
oh, you're so funny with your bike rack. Anyone had that? There were just bikes
Right.
just tossed in the
Just
yard.
thrown. You're right. You're right.
Bike rack. What are you talking about? No, we just
The
left you
fire
outside
hydrant.
in the sun. You
Direct
stay
sunlight.
here. We had to strap you down all the time because you would
Oh,
stand
yeah.
up. So yeah, we just left you
Mhm.
baking in the sun while we went in. I picked out 50 cents worth of candy and Nita bought cigarettes. Same store.
That's
But
what
this
I
one
love.
was,
It's the candy store and cigarette shop.
that's why we walked over there. Because there's no way Nita is walking over to the candy store
Just get
with me.
candy.
Please. And then there was so
But
that one
no.
was like in front of the firehouse. And the one that was, I think, a candy store from like the 1920s where they had like the lever thing that would open the soda freezer.
I think this is the one I remember.
Yeah, because it like the one was there for a heartbeat. The one in front of the fire hall was there just for a couple of minutes. And then this one
Okay.
was there forever until that guy died. And it
Yeah,
was
I
run
remember the
by,
one that was there forever. I feel like there was cobwebs everywhere.
oh, yeah, it was real dirty inside. They hadn't
Mhm.
changed it since the 1920s, but they kept restocking the candy, which is really all that mattered.
Yeah.
You could buy a bottle of Sprite and 4 pieces of licorice, and then you would drink the Sprite through the licorice.
Yeah, that was the best.
Good times. I think even after
Good
I could drive,
times.
I would walk over there.
Do you remember was it summer breakfasts at the fire hall?
Yes. I remember
Mhm.
I have a very associative memory of Prince's Purple Rain cassettes, a Walkman, Wendy
Oh, wow.
Oliver, and Blaine Hill Fire Hall Basement free lunch.
Yeah.
And they had free breakfast. So if you were a kid who was up early, then you could go over there and
That's
get
what I
free
just
breakfast
remember, the
and free lunch.
breakfast.
No,
I
they
don't
have free
remember the
lunch too.
lunch. Or maybe I
Hmm.
just thought lunch was breakfast because that's what time I woke up.
Yes, that is
I
accurate.
don't know.
You
Again,
thought
I
you were
was still
going to
pretty little.
breakfast.
Yeah.
But I would get up at 7:30, bebop
Yeah,
down the
because
street, pick up Wendy Oliver, and head on over to the free breakfast.
you
Then I would
needed to
come
be
home,
home to listen to The Hobbit or read The Hobbit and
come
drink
home, read The Hobbit.
grapefruit soda.
I was, can you imagine a better life? And then at noon, when everyone woke up,
No,
we would all go
never.
outside and play kickball. Talk about idyllic.
Life was grand.
Drinking out of the fire hose, getting mad at somebody having beef like in the neighborhood, and being like, I'm not going over to Beans's house. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Unless Steve is over there playing basketball, in which case I will go
Yeah.
over.
Then you're definitely going to go over.
Oh,
Oh,
sad,
the good old
sad girl.
neighborhood.
Oh, God. Anyway, so every time you drink the sport drink, I'm like, if only that was a 50-50 soda she bought for a quarter.
No, it's a sport drink that I'm going to have to pay $2 for.
Right. Nina wouldn't even give me a discount. Like, I had to pay full price.
I'm just going to go to Costco or Sam. This is from Costco. I go to Sam's Club. I'm just going to go to Sam's Club and get the fake sport drink case because that'll be cheaper
Just,
than replacing all of them that my child has drank.
it sounds like a plan. Good thing you volunteer. All right, so let's talk about today's episode. Speaking of volunteering, the importance of saying no.
Yay.
Is the title of our chapter from The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it is the penultimate chapter, which means
what does that mean?
Second to last.
Oh, wow. That is a fancy word. That's a
Isn't
very
it?
fancy word. Sometimes I listen to our episodes and I'm like, wow, I could have asked her like 5 more times what she meant by something. I must have not been paying attention.
I think that when I edit too, I'm like, wow, Sarah made a really good point. I was watching her lips move while waiting to say something I thought was more important.
Obviously, you're thinking about what I was going to say next. Let's be real. That's how we all function throughout life.
I try hard, especially when we're
Sometimes.
doing this,
Sometimes.
to pay attention.
Sometimes I do.
All right, so we're also going to do fan mail. We're going to do a weekly catch-up corner. Our growing up gaster story of the week has to do with the McGinnitys. So we'll talk a little bit about our friends, the McGinnitys. Then we'll get into some mental health stuff. I listened to a podcast this morning that broke me as a person. So we can talk about that.
That's good. I
Right.
probably shouldn't listen to that one anytime soon.
That's all I got for that one. I'll tell you guys all about it when we get there. Still no medication for me. On my list of 5 very important things to do today, number 5 is call every mom and pop local pharmacy and see if I can talk them into ordering it or finding it or helping me out in some way that CVS and Walgreens won't. All right, fan mail. Do you want to talk about our fan mail that we got from our friend Rick?
We really didn't get a lot of fan mail this week, which is fine. It's all right. I get it. I got some text from Kim D instead of the regular email. She had made reference to talking about the potatoes in the pants and I didn't, this is one of those things where I guess I wasn't listening to you until she had mentioned it and I listened to the episode. She will always say bumping potatoes now.
How can you not listen to that part?
And I was like, that sounds funny. And she sent that text before I even listened to it. And I listened to it, was like, oh, shit. Because it's one of the several times that I try to talk over you. I believe that you said it. And I didn't catch it immediately. But yes, so bumping potatoes. We're going to need to come up with a shirt idea for that one. That was funny.
Tag in Tommy Ballasheri here, see if he can come up with a good bumping potatoes shirt for us.
Yep. So that was Kim D's fan mail came in the form of a text this week. And the other bit of fan mail we got is from our friend Rick, who says more swearing. We need more swearing. So apparently in my attempts to say I'm trying not to swear so much, it has alerted Rick that might be a possibility and he doesn't like it. So I responded and I said, this is definitely a valid request that I can go for. So fuck yeah, Rick. Here we fucking go. Let's fucking go, man.
Fuck yeah.
So
there you are.
There you have it. That's all the fan mail that we got this week. I don't know. Maybe it's because we forgot to say gastergirls@gmail.com.
I don't know.
Throw us a bone, sharing, and keep sending us love.
And I forget what each of the episodes is about immediately after I'm done editing it. Olivia and Evalie told me that they listened to episode 12, and I was like, oh yeah, all the dick jokes. Couldn't remember what the Gaster story of the week was. Couldn't remember anything I said that was about mental health. Not a single memory remains in my head once we're done.
Yeah, which I can see. I don't know. Because I think of this too, like, I need to review my notes from every episode to make sure like I'm not just repeating the same shit all the time. But I think I'm going to repeat the same shit all the time. Yeah. So it's just going to happen. And if you were listening and you get to episode 25, which hasn't happened yet, but will, of course. When you get to episode 25, if you're like, shit, girl, you said that in episode 2, then I would like you to contact me and we have some sort of a job for you. We're probably not going to pay you, but I feel like that's amazing that you remembered that much. Yeah, it's going to happen.
I was listening to a different podcast. I was listening to Lore. Do you know or Lore, that podcast with
No.
Aaron Mankey?
Isn't that a wine?
Lore Wine, it might be.
Mhm.
But
Anyway,
Aaron Mankey has a database, all of the topics that he has talked about, and cross references them with the episodes. And if you don't listen to Lore the podcast and you have any interest in history and creepy things, do yourselves a favor and go listen to Lore. All right, let's get into catch up corner. How was your week?
yes, catch up corner. My story from the weekend is Noah and I decided that we're going to do things together because we don't do enough things together because we're assholes. This weekend, I was like, let's go to the farmer's market. I'm going to go to more farmer's markets. And so we decided to go to the Sewickley Farmers Market. And I was like, let's do this. Let's just make a list, make our grocery list. We'll go to the farmer's market. We'll go to Walmart. We'll go to Sam's Club. We'll do whatever we need to do. First thing that happened is we're trying to decide what's going on. I was like, we better get moving. Like it's 8:30 in the morning. It's 8:30. We have to get moving because the longer we wait, the more people are going to be there. It's going to be fucking hot. Like we got to go.
The produce
And then
won't
I
be
said,
as
you know
good.
what? I was real proud of myself because I said, you know what? Fuck that. I need to stop planning everything around the amount of people that I will be around. I need to chill the fuck out and just experience things. Just breathe and know that I'm going into a situation where there's going to be a bunch of people and it's going to be fucking hot.
This is the thing I don't understand. Like, I don't mind a crowd. It's not my favorite. I don't like to wait
Yeah.
in line. I don't like to everybody touching me, but it's nice to watch a lot of people do shit.
Yeah. It can be good. It's all about how you prepare yourself, I think. And I have just become so accustomed to preparing myself to have a total shit fit when other people are around and lose my fucking mind instead of going into it with more of a positive attitude. And that's the thing is I always go into it with there's going to be 1,000 people there. They're going to fucking touch me. Somebody's going to be acting like an asshole. It's going to piss me off. I'm not going to be blah, blah, blah. So that was number one. I was very proud of myself that I was like, no, whenever time we're ready to go, we're going to go and it will be fine. We got there. It was a little bit smaller than I had expected. We ended up not getting anything, but we walked through all the things. It was hotter than Satan's testicles.
It's
So
my
it
favorite.
wasn't a very long stay, but it was nice to see it. It was nice to go through. There were some things I would get on a different, cooler day. But anyway, so then we go to Walmart. At this point, it's Saturday at 11 a.m. We go to Walmart. I did fine. And it was me and Noah. And I think it might be like flying with Owen. Like I am better at flying when I have Owen with me because I'm more worried about him than I am
Freaking him
myself.
out.
I'm more worried about keeping him calm and not losing my shit in front of him. So maybe that's why I was like, just we're going to get through this. Everything's going to be fine. And maybe having Noah there, it was like, all right, we got to stay cool. We got to stay calm and collected. Because if I start getting wound up, Noah's going to lose his shit and it's going to be bad. And then we
Right?
went to Sam's Club and then we went to Market District. So I went to more stores on Saturday that had people in them during a normal active Saturday than I have in probably years
Look at you go.
collected. And I didn't lose my mind. It was actually a pretty enjoyable experience. Yes, more ketchup corner.
You kidnapped my daughter.
I did. It was wonderful. After talking about sending her up here for soccer camp, you did send her up here and it was fantastic. She showed up on Tuesday and didn't go home until Friday. And I learned like when we made fun of mommy for it's the 6:30 girls better figure out
Better.
what you're doing.
And we
Hold on,
laughed and laughed.
I have to do something. Okay. Yeah, because we were like, Mom, it's 6:30. Like we don't leave the house until 10.
Oh my God. Better. You girls better decide what you're doing. It's almost 7. I'm
I
like,
mean, you guys
first,
called me at 7 something on Monday, and we're like, yeah, Liv's thinking about coming up. I'm like, it's 7 p.m. What do you mean she's thinking about coming up? But are you or are you not? It's 7 p.m.
it was, to be fair, 6:45. And I was like, okay, well, get your shit
Mhm.
together and go. At 7:45, I said, you should really think about leaving. At
Yeah.
8:30, I was like, honestly, I don't know
Hmm.
what could possibly take 2 hours that would keep you from leaving right now.
Yeah, she
And
still didn't get here till 10 something.
she didn't leave here till 9:15. 3
Okay, yeah.
hours
Mhm.
later, like in
That's
a
what I
SpongeBob
felt pretty
episode.
good. Yeah, I felt pretty good about one of the girls at one of the booster moms at camp said something like, "Oh, she's coming tonight." And I said, "Yeah, it's going to take her." Or no, they said something like, "Oh, she's leaving now." And I was like, "Nah, she probably won't leave. Like she said she was going to leave in like an hour. So I'm going to guess she's going to leave in 2 to 3 hours. It's going to take her an hour to get up here. Oh, and then she's
Mhm.
going to go to the gym." I was like, "Huh, okay."
Yeah, we
Yes, there's a
don't
whole
pay a lot
different
of
time.
attention.
There's a whole different, these kids in general just live in their own little time warp
When
reality.
when your mom said it when we were in college, I was like, it's
Mhm.
7, so I'm gonna have a bowl of cereal, second dinner.
Right.
I'm gonna watch a movie.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna take a shower, start getting ready, and we'll
Yeah.
be out of here at like 11:30.
At 6:30, we truly weren't even trying to figure out what we were doing. We're like, "Oh, is that the paper with the show?" Because
Right?
that's
Should
how it
we
used to be.
should we
Like,
check out
let's
when the movies are playing?
yeah, let's do 18 other things before we do that. Girls, it's 6:30. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Please. Oh,
So,
we laughed so hard.
oh yeah, we made a lot of fun of her. So that's great. We're getting old enough that we can now look back at the things that we made fun of mommy for and be like, "Wow,
Yeah, she knew what was up. She
welcome to being
understood,
old. Welcome to being
right?
old, ladies and gentlemen."
Like the whole
Yeah,
summer,
so
Olivia's, hey, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm like, don't they close? Oh, before we get on to before we move on from Liv's week at Aunt Sarah's, I guess this could go in catch up corner. There are two major soccer tournaments happening right now, and I am having a hard time telling one from the other, even
is
though
one
it
of them
should be easy because one of
what
them's
are
in
they?
Europe and one of them's in America.
The Copa
Yeah, that's the
something.
American one,
That's what I
America Cup,
thought.
if my Spanish is okay. And then the other one is in Europe. So I watched Hungary play Scotland yesterday,
Oh,
which, you know, awesome. It was the 113th minute or something
ew.
like that. Like they had there was a really bad injury on the field, so they had a lot of extra time added on. But they're neck and neck the whole time. Play goes back and forth, neck and neck. They were coming on hard.
You were saying neck, and for some reason, you started to say they're
They were
naked.
just neck
Okay.
and neck. 15 seconds before the referee blows the whistle, Hungary scores and crushes the little
Oh,
Scottish dreams of moving out of the group stage for the first time
it's
ever,
terrible.
right?
It's
I'm
terrible.
like, what a horrible game this is. What a horrible game that you can
Hmm.
wait until the last 15 seconds, lose focus for half a
A second.
second, and then you're done
Hmm.
for the
Done.
rest of the tournament. You're packing your shit and heading home early.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
Yes, and then when we're done with these two soccer tournaments, then we have the Olympics, and that'll be fun because the girls play there.
I like the Olympics. I like the
Me too.
Olympics. I think we're going to
Snoop
look up
Dogg,
some games and maybe watch some of the Copa America stuff.
because the time
We
zones are more
watched
convenient.
some shit last week. I don't even know what it was. We're terrible. We pay no attention. Today there are two games. There's Paraguay and
Ah,
Colombia at 6 p.m. and then Brazil and Costa Rica at 9. So it's every day at 6 and 9, which is
nice. And the
so good
Euros are
for
done
us.
like 9, 12, and 3.
See,
So
you
you
say
could,
Euros. Did you watch US play yesterday? Because they played yesterday.
no,
Yeah, I
I
didn't know that
watched
either. I mean, I'm
Ireland
just
and
maybe I
Hungary,
watched it.
and that's as much time as I can dedicate. Because soccer isn't like football. Like you have to actively watch
Mm-mm.
it. Like you can't sit
Yeah,
there and do something else. Like I
no.
had shit to do in the kitchen yesterday, so
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
All
See,
right,
let's go back to you said Euros. Like I
right,
thought the Euros were the money. What? Why do
right.
you say Euros?
It's the European Championship tournament, something like that, but it's just with teams in Europe.
So we refer to those people, those teams, as the Euros.
The tournament is the Euros.
Is the Euros kind of? I don't know. Then it makes me think of a gyro. Now I want a gyro.
The Euro tournament is the European Championship. It's referred to as Euro followed by the year, Euro 2024. I don't know if anyone calls it Euros except for me, but there you are.
Fantastic. I still want a gyro.
Same.
But
All right.
so back to Liv's visit. I know that we're
Mhm.
taking up a lot of time. You'll just have to cut some shit out. Liv did great. She hung out with the boys. It's a really funny, like high school boys who think they're all badass. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I thought it was really funny how they interacted with her being around because they were all frightened of her, I think.
She is scary.
Or just in general didn't like her. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that they were just frightened of her, considering that when they would take breaks and come over to the bench, if Liv sat down on the bench first, no other boys would sit on the bench.
They're teenage boys, right? And she's a college
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if she looks like she's 15, it's slightly intimidating. Anyway, Liv did a great job. And she helped coach the little kids. So I think that was the big deal. And the boys coach was very appreciative of that. And it was nice for her to stick around after a couple of the practices and play. The last night she didn't really want to. She felt the boys had made their stance that they didn't want her around, which I don't really believe. So instead of playing, we sat there and watched them and laughed loudly at them to make them feel better.
Aw, that's so nice.
So yeah, the
I'm
coach
so
asked
glad-
if she was playing, and I said, no, she's going to sit with me and we're just going to
Critique.
critique. That's the word. We're just going to critique for the evening. And we did.
Aw, that's funny.
So that was fun. Yeah. And it was just in general, a nice visit with Liv. We talked about a lot of stuff and some shit she's dealing with. And sometimes you need Aunt Sarah to be like, what? Say it again. Let's talk this through.
Be more about that.
This through. And
Yeah.
it's really difficult. It's really difficult because no matter what, like I can remember being her, and no matter what anybody said to me, it wasn't going to make a difference. But I still have no ability to be like, yeah, okay. Like I still have to tell her you're being silly.
100%. And she's real tired of hearing it from me.
Yeah.
The positive thing is that she's self-aware enough that she's, what you're saying is correct. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. What you're saying is correct. I'm not going to listen to you, and I'm going to keep saying the things that I'm saying. And you can keep telling me that they're not the right things.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds good. Let's do it again.
Right. I'm like, no. And you have to approach each interaction with a renewed and spirit.
Yeah.
Like that.
So that's that.
All right. We went shopping for dresses then at the end of the week, though.
Fucking miserable.
It always starts off the same. We hit it. We get there and everyone is like on an emotional high. We are the entertainment of whatever section of Macy's we're in.
Literally, an old man and his wife stopped to see what we were talking about because we were being that funny. And the old man was super entertained by that.
I feel like that first round of picking up dresses and trying them on, we were into it. We were like, everything looks amazing. We were okay when things didn't look all right. And then I think we can maintain that level for about 45 minutes. And then once we try everything on, we provide snarky commentary for each other's dresses. We say, yes, that one works. We interact with the nice older lady who's in the changing room with us.
Love it too.
Right. We should have set up a little ticket booth at the beginning. I'm so mad at us. We could have paid for all the dresses.
The one lady, I will say the one lady who saw me practically naked wasn't too excited.
Oh, we should have gave her money back.
We probably should have paid her. I did have bra and underwear on. Still, not pretty. Not pretty.
Also, thank you for wearing underwear. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I was really excited. We left the house. I told Liv, I was like, I have unders on.
Today is a win no matter what. And then the energy I think we got hungry or tired. I think we got hungry and tired.
I was thirsty. Once I get thirsty and hungry, I get super cranky.
Right. And then nothing we tried on was good. We went to Windsor, and God bless the Windsor people. They were also entertained by us. But I don't know who sizes those clothes. I'll just try in a medium. That seems to correspond. Like I got stuck in it. One arm was up and I was trapped. And by the time I disengaged from the dress, I had so many sparkles on my face that the dress had instinctively just shed like quills from a porcupine.
Like quills.
If the dress felt it was in danger and released its defense mechanism, which was a lot of sparkle. And I think, and then we went to JCPenney and the dressing room had several spots that were wet where wet shouldn't be.
I think that was my turning point.
I'm like we're
the
done.
Whole fitting room in the JCPenney's. Like,
why is it wet?
Why is there only one?
But the good news is I found a dress So
Hmm.
I bought that dress. And it was inexpensive too. So I think a win for us.
It was very
Black tie
pretty. I like it.
optional is it will continue to forever be a challenge. Plus, black tie
Yeah.
optional July in the South. This is just a hard thing to shop for.
Like, I don't think adding the optional is really, I don't know, just to
Right,
make it
because
black tie or make it a wedding.
in order to convince David that what I told him was black tie optional, I had to open up a web browser.
Yeah.
He's optional. I was like, it doesn't mean what you think it means. It's like
Yeah.
inconceivable. It doesn't mean what you think it
Yeah.
means.
Nope.
It's not optional. The black
It's not
tie
like you
part of it is
can or you
optional.
can't. Right. That's the only thing that's optional. I
Yeah.
think we're good. We're ready. I got my dress today.
All right. And then I had to go to a different wedding other than that wedding on Saturday. And I had done some AI headshots where you take a bunch of selfies and you feed it into the AI thing and it gives you headshots like you were outside with your fist under your chin. Mine, for some reason, gave me long, beautifully wavy hair, my AI
Because it's
headshot.
AI.
And I was like, that looks so pretty. I'm gonna get extensions. And as I was laying in bed on Saturday morning, where the wedding is
Oh, that's
Saturday
the best.
afternoon, I'm like, I can go to Ulta or Sally and buy those clip-in hair extensions. No, I mean I did, and then I cut them, and then it was 90 degrees outside, and I was dancing, and my hair is thin these days, so I could feel the extensions just sliding down the back of my head. And David's, yeah, you look fine. But I know, like, people at the wedding were like, did you see her extensions? Like,
No,
I
they
know
weren't.
for sure. I'm pretty sure, I know that no one cared, but I'm pretty sure they mentioned it.
Hmm.
Somebody elbowed somebody else and went, look at that shit. They forgot almost immediately and it never came up again. But at that moment in time, they were like, this bitch. But they looked amazing. They matched my real hair color as I walked out the door. But I do live in a fantasy world where AI generated pictures could be reality if I were more skilled
Hmm.
at hair design. Growing up Gaster stories of the week. We have friends who went on vacation with us a couple of times. We have my dad's best friend, my Uncle Paul. Uncle Paul's married to my Aunt Kay. My Aunt Kay has a sister, Rosie. Rosie was married to Bill. Rosie and Bill are McGinnitys. They're the mom
Hmm.
McGinnitys. And then Kimmy and Billy were their children,
Yeah. This,
or are their
Rosie
children.
and Bill. Yeah. Rosie and Bill were the McGinnity parents. And
Right.
then Billy and Kimmy are the McGinnity kids.
And they came on vacation with us to the Outer Banks one time. And that is where a lot of the best McGinnity stories come from. And I will say that the reason that we're talking about it is because the older Bill McGinnity passed away last week. We saw his obituary announcement on Facebook. So, Kimmy and Billy, if you're listening, you have our condolences. We're sorry. We loved your dad. We thought he was hysterical and provided a lot of joy to our vacation. And your mom, who did pass away a couple of years ago. Everybody loved
Or
Rosie.
lots of years ago.
Was it?
It was before I
Anyway,
got married. We had been
everybody
married for 16 years.
everybody loved
Hmm.
Rosie. And yeah, we're sorry that your dad passed away, Kimmy and Billy. But we will
But
tell
we've
some
got some
good
great fucking
stories.
stories.
Do you want to go first or should I go first?
You go ahead. You go first.
All right, I am going to tell the story about Bill McGinnity eating barbecue. The way our vacations would go, the daily plan for our vacations while we were growing up is the ladies would stay at whatever place we were staying, camper, rental house, hotel room, whatever, and they would try to wrangle the children and keep us busy while the men went golfing until roughly early afternoon. So we would get up at the ass crack of dawn and start asking to go to the beach. Can we go to the beach? Can we go to the beach? Can we go? Hey, how about we go to the beach? Can we go to the pool? Can we go to the pool? And the answer to this is always so we had to wait until our dads were done golfing. But I think that their golfing, I don't know because I never went with them golfing, but I think their golfing involved a lot of drinking, so they would have a lot of soda pops on the golf course. And I think this one time they were on their way back, and it was the ladies' responsibility to make sure we ate lunch. So we were all fed. We all had our bathing suits on. We had been coated in sunscreen. We weren't allowed to leave the house, but we had been coated in sunscreen since about 10 a.m. So we were all taken care of. And the sunscreen came later when we were able to do that for ourselves.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gina was probably covered in sunscreen.
I was going to say, I think Gina was probably the only one who was covered in sunscreen.
Your mom was like, "You're Italian. You're fine.
You're fine. You're Italian.
You got sunburned yesterday. You're like immune now."
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Anyway, so I think this particular time they had heard about this barbecue place in North Carolina and the Outer Banks that was supposed to be the best barbecue anyone had ever done. So they stop by a barbecue shack. They pull in there. Everybody gets a sandwich or whatever. Bill McGinnity is biting his sandwich. And everyone agrees that it's good barbecue. But then Bill McGinnity takes a second bite. And with the third bite, I think he starts going, And the other two dads are just looking at him like, what is happening over there? And I think the story gets better with every retelling. So they come back and Bill's, it was really good barbecue. They come back and Paul and Jumbo are laughing. You may remember my Uncle Paul from the SeaWorld story where Uncle Paul and Jumbo were outside singing into the wee hours of the morning. So those two were thick as thieves. They get back, they start telling the story, and it gets funnier because they can't stop laughing long enough to tell the story. Like all of our growing up Gaster stories, this one faded into legend. So if we had something that tasted good, we would Bill McGinnity it. So that is my Bill McGinnity vacation story. I'm sure you have one to tell too.
It's a good one. I actually have multiple, but I feel like we need to stick with the Bill stories. Like I have a couple of Kimmy. I have at least one of Billy. And the one of Kimmy is so hard not to pass up. But to the best of my knowledge, she still despises when you tell that story. She gets legitimately pissed off when you tell that story. And maybe one day we'll tell it. It has to do something with sewage. But I will continue on another story about Bill.
We will have to bring Kimmy on to tell that story for herself.
So Bill McGinnity's story, they're golfing, and I'm just going to tell it like I've always told it. So maybe you have a different, I don't know, you can, it's not a very long one. They went golfing, they come home, and it's pretty much exactly like the one that you just told. Like Uncle Paul and Daddy are telling the story. They're all a little bit intoxicated and they're telling the story and they can't stop laughing. So the story is they're on the golf course and they're in the little cart. I forget who, I'm going to say Daddy and Bill are in the cart. That's what I'm going with. Daddy takes a sharp turn. Bill falls out of the cart. Daddy runs over Bill and continues to drive the cart. So they're telling this story about Bill falling out of the cart and getting run over by the cart. And as they're telling it, there's no great way to share it with everybody to get the full thing across, but they're telling it. And again, they can't get everything out because they can't stop laughing. And I think all of us were like, this is a bunch of bullshit. There's no way you ran Bill over with a cart. That's ridiculous. This did not happen. Bill turns around and there is a huge tire track on the back of his shirt. It's like when I got kicked in the ass and nobody believed me until you saw the big ass boot mark. No, there is a legit tire mark on the back of his shirt.
It's funny. It's just
hysterical. And again, that's one of those that I would say since we went on that vacation, we've probably told that story hundreds of times and it gets funnier every time. And if you can meet the man, you would understand. And then of course, Rosie's pissed off at him, I think.
Because I think what would happen, and now that I'm older and looking back on it, I think it was like Jumbo and Paul being like buddy, and then Bill trying to fit in and not being that great at fitting in, and then those two jackasses just making fun of him.
And that's what I was thinking that too. Maybe that's the way it was. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe it was. Maybe that's why they didn't come on vacation with us all that much after that.
I think Rosie got mad, not at Bill, maybe at Bill, but definitely at Paul and your dad.
Mm-hmm. And those two jackasses, I'm pretty sure, have no idea that it's actually happening.
No, they don't. They don't know.
It's
the only difference to the story that I heard is that he didn't necessarily get run over, but he fell
Yeah.
out of the golf cart and
Well,
the
that's the
mark.
funny part of it is that they sold it to us as though that he was run over. What actually
Right.
happened is he fell into a tire track that made the mark on his shirt. So he didn't
Right.
actually get run over, but that was the telling of the story was that my dad ran him over.
Hysterical either way. And the fact that we retell it so many
Hmm.
times, and that like we have carried memories of the McGinnitys with us. We went on maybe 2-3 vacations with them max,
Hmm.
but we
We did do some camping. We did quite a bit of camping with them, or maybe just a few.
they pop up all the time.
Yeah, but there's
And
always stories.
it's so funny. All right, well, I think that is our Gaster growing up Gaster story of the week. It's always good to revisit these vacation ones while we're getting ready to go on vacation.
Yay! I can't wait for a vacation.
Oh, the vacation episode of this podcast will be epic.
It sure will. It sure will.
All right, let's get into mental health now. A quote came up in a completely different, unrelated space to all of the stuff that we were talking about. And the quote was, I am not a victim of this unless I want to be, and I don't want to be. So we were talking about taking responsibility, and
Hmm.
that kind of tying back into all of the stuff we're going to talk about here in previous chapters and here in chapter 8. Like, I'm not a victim of this unless I choose to be a victim of this. And I am really excited to wrap up chapter 8 and talk a little bit about And Then You Die. So talk about chapter
Yeah.
9 and wrap up this subtle art, because I think reading it this slowly made it easier for me to think more about the lessons that I wanted to take from this book.
Yeah.
I am very excited to do that next week. But before we get to next week, let's talk about the importance of saying no. Do you want to lay out some thoughts that you had? Because I saw that you took some notes.
I took some notes. The first thing I just from the title of it, the importance of saying no, I immediately thought it was just being able to tell people no. No. Like that's very
No, I don't want to.
literally. No, I don't want to volunteer. No, I don't want to help with that. No, I don't want to do that. Or for you, just saying, I no, I don't want to do that instead of just ignoring someone. Like that's what I thought it was. But it's more about rejection and being able to accept someone telling you no and being able to tell somebody else no. And it's not just a no, I don't want to do that. It's just a rejection of any sort. And I absolutely love him talking about where was he in Russia? St. Petersburg in Russia, and how like
Yeah.
when he first gets there, he's what the fuck, man?
These people are
Everybody's super
dicks.
rude. Nobody's smiling at you. If you say something stupid, they tell you you're stupid. Whatever it is, like they're just being real and they're putting it out there. And it's not like, how did he put it? It's not like in a combative way. It's just a matter of fact. Like he went out for coffee with a woman and they were like 5 minutes into this date and he said something and she was like, that's dumb. Excuse me? And how he relates that, it's us living in our society. We do something that he talked about earlier, the code shifting, how you change yourself so drastically depending on who you're around. So
Right.
he's talking about like how he talked about code shifting. That's something that we're always trying to do. We're always trying to be accepting. And while that's a good thing, you want to accept differences, there's also a point that you have to get to that you're like, yeah, but that's not the belief that I have. That's not how I feel about things. Or no, that's dumb.
Yeah, looking at the title, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, great. This is going to tell me how I suck because I never want to disappoint anybody. And
Right.
in fact, it is more about the ability to sift through your values and shit that's important to you. And he hides this in a lot of stuff about romantic love, right? We're
Yeah.
talking about Romeo and Juliet and about how this is, oh, Romeo, it's the ideal, where even Shakespeare was like, this shit is fucked up.
That's what I wrote. I wrote the story of Romeo and Juliet. Did Shakespeare really mean for this story to celebrate romance, or was this more of a way to say, "Look how fucked up we are when love and that emotion
Yeah,
takes over. Look at the stupid fucking shit we do. This isn't something to celebrate. This is something to wake you up to say, the fuck you doing."
I thought that was clever to because I think when you go to the self-help section, a lot of what you're looking for and a lot of what his history is based on is romantic interactions, right? Like he built up an internet business of being an advice columnist for people who are like, how do I ask my math tutor out? And him bringing the importance of saying no into this whole space, the importance of being able to say, I am so self-aware, I know who I am, and I know what I am and what I'm not, that I'm not willing to compromise because it will land me in this relationship that previously I would have thought was ideal. And I think that being able to shift my thinking and looking at it and being like, oh, it's not about me saying, no, I don't want to come to your party. It's about me saying, no, I don't want to come to your party because I'm not a party kind of person.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not a
I'm
party
fine
kind of
once I
person.
get
I'm not
there.
comfortable there.
I don't
Feel
want to
like
come to
it's
your
just not my
party.
place.
I don't want to be the only one who doesn't know everybody. And
Mhm.
your parties are going to be loud. And it's
You're
not
gonna
that I
get
don't
really
like that.
drunk.
And it's not that I don't enjoy that. But I'd
I
rather
love that you're talking through this and
stay
you're still
home.
trying to make it nice because you're talking to me about a party at my house and you're still trying to be nice about it. Like,
You can
when
be
all you
nice
have to
about
say
it.
is, yeah, you don't
Go.
have to be mean about it. You can be like, no, I'm not really
But
into your loud, dumbass friends.
then it comes back to me, right? I want to be into your loud dumbass friends. That sounds fun. Society tells me that should be fun. Everybody thinks that I should have a good time at parties. And part of me
No.
wants to have a good time at the party. I want to go and I want to be fun and I want to be that. But in reality, I have just as much fun sitting at home and trying to figure out a knitting pattern as I do at a party.
Amen. Yeah. The
Yeah,
thing,
but looking at being able to sift through the chaff and understanding that I need to say no to the things that I'm not, and I need to say yes to the things that I am, and being able to set up some boundaries that protect my ability to understand who I am. I think he talks a lot about relationships and about being the savior in a relationship or being the sort of not necessarily abusive person, but the one who's, oh, I need more from you. I need more from you. And again, focusing on stuff that's external to you makes it harder to figure out who you are, I think is what he's trying to say with all this stuff.
going off that same thing, it's also about how you accept that no. With you, I'm fine with the no. All right, cool. I wish you would come, but I
Right.
get it. You don't want to be here. I'm fine with it. You're going to have a better time doing whatever you're doing. Cool.
It's understanding what's going on in the background. I think a lot of what he's saying is your partner being unwilling to do X, Y, or Z, or your partner always wanting to do A, B, and C says who they are. And what he's getting to is people are telling you who they are all the time. And your job, the way that you take responsibility for your relationships is believing them, is understanding that when my partner does A, B, and C, and it makes me feel a specific way, that's the reality. I can't give them attributes that aren't there, but again, I can't take away attributes that are there. But when people tell you who you are, you have to believe them. Does that make sense?
Does it make it okay?
It the trick is being able to articulate that and say, hey, the way our relationship is going to work is if we work together on these things. And the trick isn't, does it make me this way or this way? The trick is understanding and communicating within that relationship and not being like, fuck this, and going off and cheating on somebody. Or when someone cheats on you, having them come back. And I think this is an example he has in that chapter, having that person come back and be like, hey, so sorry, but then also continuing to do the same
Right.
behaviors. Understanding that when people are acting, they're acting based on their values and who they are. And when they're acting, those actions are telling you what's important to them. And your response to that has to be one where you take responsibility for the relationship. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I'm in this because I think that there's value in this and I'm willing to make these sacrifices, but I want you to understand that I see through what you're doing and I understand what you're telling me when you're telling me these things. And being able to communicate that in a way that says, I'm not A, I'm not going to put up with this shit. B, I will put up with his shit for a specific period of time for a specific reason. And staying true to the values that are important to you in the context of that relationship, I think. As someone who has thought much about relationships over the past couple of weeks, my own and
It's
others.
fun. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Super fun. Speaking of relationships, he talks about boundaries, and this is the definition. I'm assuming I copied this directly from the book, but the boundaries are basically the delineation. It was one that I wanted to make sure I got right. Between
You
two
did great.
people's responsibility for their own problems. People in a healthy relationship with strong boundaries will take responsibility for their own values and problems. People in a toxic relationship with poor or no boundaries will regularly avoid responsibility for their partner's problems.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that definition of boundaries, it's always what do, what are my values here? What do I think is going to happen? How do I take responsibility for my actions? And how do I reflect what you're doing and make sure that you understand the implications of your actions? For if we're going back to the finance example that I have loved the past couple of weeks, like being able to sit down uh, with a partner and say, hey, I really fucked this up earlier in my life. And as a result of that, I now have $20,000 left to pay off of me being very irresponsible. I don't expect you to take care of that. I don't expect you to do anything but to recognize that this is a part of my life that was, and let you know that if you're going to be saddled with me, you're going to be saddled with that. I know how to take care of it, and I will. And drawing that boundary and not letting somebody be like, don't worry, pretty little princess, I will take care of that for you.
Pretty little
And
princess.
right. And also understanding that if someone says, hey, pretty little princess, I'll take care of that for you, I'm like, no, I don't want you to diminish what I can do on my own. I want you to understand that I know what actions cause this. I'm not going to engage in that behavior anymore. I think that's the kind of concrete example I can point to, being like, I got it. I'm sorry that it happened. I'm sorry you have to see that. And I'm sorry it's going to impact our ability to do some things while I'm taking care of it.
And it all bubbles up, maybe that's the way to say it. I don't know. But then to talk about trust and how we build trust. And it's about being honest.
And I think in this situation where we have to look at the money, I don't want you to take care of it, but I do want you to call me out on it. I do want you to be like, hey, I can't help but notice that you're engaging in some maybe non discretionary spending that you don't really have the ability to back up.
I hope
And
those particular words are used.
in yeah, normal people use those in conversations
Mhm.
all the time.
Yeah.
But I think that then being willing to say, yeah, we're in a relationship and you can bring that up. It's my responsibility to worry about that and to tell you how I'm going to fix it. Being able to have that communication, being able to have somebody who's going to be able to trust that.
So, well, talking about like trust, and then the one thing I wrote here is without conflict, there can be no trust. So, I was thinking about this, and maybe I thought conflict might be a harsh word, but maybe not. I know that I've said in the past, like when I'm talking to somebody and they're like, yeah, me and my boyfriend or me and my husband, we never fight. We've never had a fight. We've never fought. That concerns me.
Because I feel like if you're not
Someone's not
fighting,
telling the truth.
you're just not talking about stuff.
Right.
Like you're finding the places where there could be conflict and where you could have some productive discussions about opening up and sharing more and being like, no, we're not even going to talk
Yeah.
about it. Where in the finance example, if I don't say anything about the $20,000 of debt I have and I let the relationship continue, and secretly I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm also writing checks behind my partner's back to pay off the debt without sharing
Yeah.
that, then it's the same thing as lying to them about it. I don't expect somebody to solve my problems for me, but I expect you to understand the actions that led to this and the fact that I have a plan in place to take care of it. I expect you to trust me to be able to say that, yeah, I was a moron. Together, we're going to make sure I'm not a moron anymore. And here's how I'm going to take care of it. And here's how it's going to impact the both of us. There's a huge difference. Either way, I'm accepting responsibility for my actions, but in one of those ways, I'm open and trusting and building a relationship with somebody. And the other one, I'm creating a really weird dynamic in my relationship.
Yeah, that's a shitty one.
From experience. Yeah, that sucks.
I maybe had to set up my one credit card to text Noah every time I used it.
We discovered credit during a period of time in the nation's financial history where everybody could get credit for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
We took full
Uh-huh.
advantage.
And that was me. That's me taking responsibility. Hey, I'm an asshole and
I
I'm
need your
not
help.
having the credit card company text you because I need your permission. Because I know people would say, like, we'd be out for work and we'd go out to lunch and I'd put something on my card and I'd be like, Noah's going to call me in 5 seconds.
Oh,
There would be
same.
comments made like, "Ugh, I can't believe I would never, blah, blah, blah." Yeah, it's not because he needs to tell me it's okay to do it, but I need it to be held accountable sometimes. And this is one way to do it because I don't want to hear shit from Noah.
Right. And this is the part I think carrying on further into the chapter where he talks about commitment. My relationship doesn't have to look like your relationship. My relationship has to be my commitment to somebody else to go beyond and to trust them to help me be a better person. My relationship has to be one where I can be like, hey, this is a problem for me. I don't need you to fix it, but I need you to be aware that you and I are going to have to work on it together. And I think that's how you develop commitment. That's how you get to be in a healthy relationship where you're able to say, fucked it up, sorry.
I think that like when he goes on to commitment and there's freedom through commitment, that kind of ties in at the beginning of the chapter and what he's talking about, how he felt like when he was doing all of this traveling and had really no commitment to anything, how he thought that was him showing everybody that he didn't need anybody and he could just do whatever the hell he wanted to do, and then realized that through commitment, how do you put it? You lessen your choices and therefore it makes them more important. It raises the value in them. So that makes
Yep.
a huge difference. And I thought about the last thing I wrote was commitment gives you freedom, page 182. So apparently there's a lot on 182 that I wanted to write and got fucking lazy. But I want to go back one step. It's also in commitment, but I believe in the book he had said something about making changes in his life and how what a difference that's made. And one of the things he changed were all the friends that he had and how he decided to double down on a handful of friends. And those were his people. And those were the people that he was making a commitment to. And then I thought about an earlier episode of ours where we talked about all the friends that I have.
Yeah.
And this is one of those chapters that made me just think, wow, I fucking suck. I suck. I suck at being truthful, not in a bad way. I'm not
Right.
cheating or I'm not doing anything morally wrong. But there are definitely times where I'm like, yeah, okay,
I
we'll
mean,
just move on.
it's code
Um,
switching.
yeah, I'm a code switcher. I'm a huge code switcher. And so that kind of, I was like, fuck, I got to reevaluate shit I'm doing, man. I got to and then this came up and I was like, do I have too many friends? But I like the
Yeah.
friends that I have all for different reasons. But honestly, then I started thinking, like, who of these friends do I have a commitment to? Like
Right.
you. There's a couple people, there's a few other people in my life that I would see call me and be like, oh, fuck, I got to answer the phone. Not, oh, fuck, in a bad way, but
I got
like,
to get this. This is something
yeah,
important.
yeah, there's a few friends I won't miss a phone call from or that definitely will have priority or that I will go to. But truthfully, there's no friends that I'm like, I have this amazing commitment to that I feel we need to have some sort of come to Jesus conversation.
It's
I don't know. And then I think maybe I just take things too literally sometimes. But then I feel like when I think that, then I'm letting myself off the hook.
it's defining friend, right? You have a lot of acquaintances that you hang out with and go to parties and do boosters, and you have all of those people in your life.
Yeah.
And I think when we're talking about friends and we're talking about finding a smaller group of friends, it's not necessarily that you have to develop these important meaningful relationships with every single person in your circle. it's going to a place where I know I have 3 or 4 people I could call and be like, I have a dead body in my basement and I really need your help.
Hold on. Who are these? Who are the other two or three? Because I
There's
know I'm one to clear.
You're definitely one. Mary
Like
Mattis would
when you say one, you mean number one, right?
number one. Yeah, you're number one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
obvious,
Just that's really all I needed you to say.
obvious
I would
people
say
that
like at least one of those is somebody I talk to like once a year.
right, right. I think
I
it's
just know
the
that's a solid relationship.
right, and I think that's the thing is that I think you don't give yourself enough credit for having a handful of those kinds of friends because you get clouded with I have a ton of friends, I have a ton of friends. You have a ton of acquaintances and people you like and people you enjoy being around because
Like I
you're just
talk to
a
people.
yeah, you're like a tick more extroverted than me.
Go back to one thing. I'm sorry. I'm
Sure.
going to go back
Go for
again
it.
because I know that you love this. And I feel like we cannot wrap this chapter up without mentioning Disappointment Panda.
Oh, I love
Because
Disappointment Panda.
Disappointment Panda made an appearance in the How to Build Trust section, where Disappointed Panda would tell you that the pain in our relationship is necessary to cement our trust in each other and produce greater intimacy.
Like when you have a fight and you talk realistically after that fight and you take the little like working out a muscle, like you stretch and break that muscle tissue so it can build back a little bit stronger. When that happens, your little disappointment pandas, hello, just wanted to remind you that if you fight about nothing, you don't learn or don't grow. Relationships are just like anything else. If you don't have any pain or if there's no conflict, there's no room to talk about anything. You're just walking along as roommates. And you're
Yeah.
like a roommate where you don't really have that great of a relationship with them. Like these are the
Yeah.
disappointment panda is always right. God bless his cute little black
Mm,
and white soul.
I know. Adorable.
So there. And to get back to you and you feeling like a piece of shit, I would not worry about it because you obviously have a few friends that you could call and be like, I have a dead body and I need your help. In
Or
addition to all of the people that you like to be around that kind of give you some energy and in ways that they don't for me.
yeah, I feel like any of my friends who are listening, if you're interested in helping me hide a dead body, just shoot me a text. Let me know you're in the list. I don't know. That'll be
um,
my fan mail for next week. Let's see
right.
who's interested in hiding the body.
Who wants to help
And
me
then
hide
when
the
someone
body?
around me ends up dead, then the police will come after me with this podcast, and I'll be like,
Right.
"Fuck,
Shit. No one
shouldn't
had
have
any good
talked about
ideas.
that."
Sorry.
God.
Yeah. I ended up talking to somebody at the wedding I went to about
Hmm.
ways to hide a body because that is
That's how
how
you make friends.
much of a struggle being a normal social person is for me.
Which I love. The stories that you have of making friends. I would like to go through your Facebook friends and figure out, just review some, because I know some of them have really good stories.
I think it comes from having a resting nice face, like having the
You
facial
do.
muscles be shorter on the sides that
Yeah.
kind of lifts that up into a smile, even when I don't mean it.
And then you're really good at reactions too, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it would be fun to go through my Facebook friends and be like, wow, yeah, I don't know.
Wow. Here's the thing. I got to get moving.
Yeah, same.
I'd like to
Let's
tell
wrap
you my
up chapter
story
eight.
though.
Anyway, so let's
What?
wrap this shit up. Chapter 8,
Okay.
the importance of saying no, is all about understanding, again, who you are as a person, what your relationship is going to look like, and whether or not that relationship feels healthy for you.
Amen.
And freedom of commitment is narrowing this shit down to a couple of things that you can realistically focus on, like deciding which values are important. And going back to the first chapter, the subtle art of not giving a fuck isn't not giving a fuck about nothing. It's about
Hmm.
finding the few things that you can very much give a fuck about and not giving a fuck about
Right.
anything else. To sum up, there you go. Next week, we are going to finish up with chapter 9 and talk about the good stuff that we learned from this book. I think I'm actually going to put some thought into things that I want to dig a little deeper into and tie into maybe our next book. And then we'll start talking about the next book, 10% Happier by Dan
Yay, I'm
Harris.
super excited about it.
Me too. I'm looking forward to getting a little bit more into meditation
Yeah.
and taking some lessons from that
Yeah.
and seeing what that does for me. Like looking at my
Yeah.
values and understanding who I am as a person and what's important and going beyond peace. Like, I just want peace.
Yeah. I wish it was that simple and we could just stick with that. It's a
Me
great
too.
one, but we'll probably need more than that.
Yeah. But again, if you're willing to commit to somebody else and the price of that commitment is you got to fight with them sometimes.
Conflict is needed.
Exactly. All right, my friend, I love
Love
you.
you.
Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.